When will you stop considering a heap percent a heap once it reaches 5,000 grains? Why 5,000? Can a heap even really be a heap if you can't really define it as a concept? Well, this is what the heap or sorite paradox questions, the use of vague words and concepts in our language. Formally, the paradox is as follows. Premise 1. A million grains of sand is a heap of sand. Premise 2. A million grains of sand minus a couple grains of sand is still a heap. By definition then, this is a heap. This paradox works well with most concepts, especially those that define values within a spectrum. For example, colors. When does the green start becoming red? There are many attempts of trying to solve this problem by using our logic and use of words a little bit less fuzzy. How about we speed through them? No more heaps. Denying the existence of heaps will eliminate the whole paradox, since we can just call these grains of sand. This comes with an issue though, because what's the difference between this and this?
Some people think that we should establish boundaries, like say 50,000 grains of sand makes a heap. What really is the difference between these and these, other than the fact that I counted 50,000 grains of sand here and 50,001 grains of sand here? Some people think that for the concept of a heap to exist, the boundary should be necessarily unknowable. For example, this big pile of sand might be a heap, however, this might also be a heap. Looks very tiny in comparison, but who knows, the boundary might be is.
Supervaluationism. This one states that the word heap can be applied and premise 1 isn't true or false, because heap doesn't refer to a real object, which means that it can be true unless we say that a million grains of sand is a heap or a million grains of sand is not a heap, which is basically no more heap on 0. This solution states that instead of treating the concept of a heap as a definitive, we should treat it as a spectrum or as a determinant. But this basically creates a lot of states of heapness, like the ones we have here.
Hysteresis is kind of the presence of two boundaries, where the first boundary is whenever you remove enough sand, you do not have a heap anymore, but you need to add more sand to get a heap again. So, a grand consensus gets a group of people to decide whether a pile of sand is agreed on as a heap. So, we asked the very capable and well-spoken people whether that's a heap, and I think they agree, so this is now a heap. Well, language, after all, is a consensus of people agreeing on the definition of word, so why should the word heap be any different?
This one states that, for example, a 300 grain of heap is little to no different than a 310 grains of heap, but they are both definitely less of a heap than a 600 grain of heap. This one doesn't really solve the problem, but it says comparable terms that can be used. Even though this will take you literally nowhere in life, it's interesting that our creativity is so vast that we can think of so many solutions for a problem so simple. Personally, I think a heap can be whatever the f you want it to be, but what do you think?